Hi, it's Chris from Callback Solutions with the first in a series of 10 short videos just to show you some of the key applications and system operations on Macs and their operating system, which is OS X. I'm presently using OS X Mavericks, which is the latest offering from Apple, although that will be superseded by OS X Yosemite, which is probably due around about September 2014. And the machine I'm using is an iMac. I think the purpose of these videos is really just to try and highlight the ease of use of the operating system and the Mac. I think there's a popular misconception from people using Windows PCs that it's very, very difficult to make the transition from those machines to a Mac and to a different operating system, when in actual fact they're very, very straightforward, very, very easy to use, and they do share a lot of similarities as well. So I'm hoping these videos really do highlight those the ease of use, basically. So this is video one, and what we're going to be doing in video one is very quickly looking at the Apple menu, which is located in the top left hand corner of your screen. It's always top left hand corner in all Mac operating systems, so you'll always find it there. You'll find it's very, very similar to the start button functionality on a Windows PC. So let's get straight into it. Let's click on the Apple menu. Now, as you can see, there's another menu that pops up once we've clicked that. The first option on here is about this Mac. So if we click on that, basically the first view you get is an initial brief overview of your system. So it will tell you your processor speed, what RAM you've got in there, the memory basically, and what the startup disk is, so which disk is being used to boot from basically. So my operating system is on my internal hard drive, and that's detailed there. Now we can get more information by fairly obviously clicking on the more info button there, so let's do that. Now this gives you four different sub-menu headings here, a bit more information on the overview, so what software I'm currently running, serial number, which obviously I've greyed out on my particular one, graphics card, what it's using there. Obviously we've already had a quick look at the processor and memory capabilities on this one. Let's move over to the display. In this case it's obviously a built-in display for the iMac. It gives you details of the display size, and again it repeats the graphics card capabilities there. Moving straight on to storage. Now what you'll find here is this will not only detail your internal storage, it will also detail any external storage that you've got connected. So in my case here I have a 1 terabyte internal hard drive, which has obviously got quite a considerable amount of space free on it. I have two partitions, a main partition, and I'm also running a beta version of the new operating system, which is Yosemite, as I mentioned, and that is on there as well. I have a couple of iPods connected. Also have a large external, relatively large external hard drive, which I use for my media, my photos, my movies, music, and so on. And also I have a time machine, which is not quite as far out and spectacular as it sounds. It's Apple's name for their backup system, basically. So I use an external 500 gig hard drive, which backs up my machine and obviously the contents of my machine and the external drive. So that's really important, and obviously we'll touch on that in another video. And as I say, a couple of iPods there, which shows you how much storage you've got left and how much you've used and what's been taken up on each of those. So that is that. And then just in regards to the memory, the maximum memory of this particular machine is 4 gig, which I'm running currently. So that again just confirms that both memory slots in my machine are both in use, with 2 gig in each slot. So it's really just, as I say, a good overview and a good way of looking at your system and seeing what you've got, how much space you've got, what you've got on there, what needs changing, what can be upgraded. It's just a fast and effective way of doing that. So secondly, we have software update. Now, as the name clearly states, if you want to do a manual check for any updates on your software that you're running, for any of the applications on your software, if you click that button there, It'll connect to the App Store, and it'll highlight any updates you have to your operating system or to any of the applications you're running, and you can download and install from that point. Now, generally, again, it's an optional thing that you can actually set it to automatically check and download software updates, so you don't have to do this, but from time to time I always do a manual check just to make sure there's nothing that's been missed or there's no issues with the updating of software, so that can be quite useful at times. Next on, we've got the App Store, which is Apple's pretty famous, I'd say, App Store. Anything and everything, any applications you want to put on your Mac, ranging from games, productivity, music, anything and everything. There's pretty much an application that Apple will offer for your Mac. So again, we'll cover that in detail in a different video, but that just basically opens up the App Store and you can peruse all of the applications once you've opened that up. Next is System Preferences, and this is the one that you'll probably use the most. I'll click on that now just to show you again what that looks like. But System Preferences basically is where you can customize the look, feel and use of your machine and the software to suit you. I mean, obviously that is within defined parameters, but you can really set this up to how you want to set it up. So you've got the general look and feel of the machine. You can change the colour of the tabs. You can change the scroll points, top and bottom or both together. Obviously change your desktop and screensavers. How your dock looks. Again, the dock I'll cover very briefly in a minute, but I'll cover that in more detail in another video. And as a whole range of other options, security, how you receive notifications, your internet accounts, mail, anything that you need to change. If you need to add further users, further accounts, that can be done there. It really is access to everything you need to do to change and to really alter the look and feel of the device and the operating system. So it's something you'll probably find you'll be going to fairly regularly to make minor tweaks and adjustments here and there. So that's definitely useful. So that is System Preferences. After System Preferences, we have Dock. Now, as I say, I briefly touched on Dock, and I'll be covering it in more detail in another video. But basically, the Dock is in effect, which is down here. It's just effectively shortcuts to your most used applications. So here's actually a shortcut to System Preferences, which we've just been into, and you can, as I say, there's various things there. That's obviously Safari, which connects to it's like an Internet Explorer. That's your basically portal to the internet. iTunes, which I'm sure most people are familiar with now. All these are very, very obviously self-explanatory, and these are basically shortcuts to those applications. So again, I'll be covering that in more detail, but you can alter the look and feel of that. You can have the dock either on the bottom of the screen or to the side. You can hide it, you can magnify it when you hover over one of the applications, which I do. I personally like that. But you can alter it and to look and act how you wish it to act. So it's pretty good there as well. Okay, next on our list we have recent items, which again is pretty much stating the obvious. It gives you a list of recent items that you've opened, recent documents, recent applications, and it's a good way again of just if you need to remember what you've just been into and find something quickly that you've just been into, you can quickly go in there in the recent items and find it and open it and go back into it. So it's to be honest with you, I really don't use it particularly much, but I'm sure there's plenty of people who will do. Okay, next we have Force Quit. Now, from time to time, I'm sure we're all aware these things do, whether it be Windows PCs or Macs, they can from time to time freeze and you can be stuck in limbo. You can't shut an application down. Everything grinds to a halt and you're pretty much stuck. This is where Force Quit obviously comes into effect. It's not last resort, but it's getting to that sort of position. If all else fails and you can't get out of the application you're in, or whatever you're trying to extricate yourself from, force quit can be useful. So you simply click on that. It will produce all the applications that you have open at any one time. You can click on those and then you can actually close it, and it will force the application to quit. So as I say, it's not something you particularly want to use, but from time to time, unfortunately, it is something that you will probably encounter. So next, after force quit, we have sleep, restart and shut down, which again, I probably don't need much explanation, so I won't bother doing it. From time to time, you may need to restart your machine. If there's an update gone on for the operating system, it may require you to restart the machine just to get that up and running and get it in place. So again, occasionally you'll need to do that. And obviously shut down if you regularly shut down your machine or need to shut down your machine. That is the button to do it. The final tab on there is the log out option. Now obviously if you own a Mac, which is perhaps a household Mac, and there's 3 or 4 of you in the family who all use the Mac, you may well have your own individual accounts, and this is where this comes into play. So if you're on your machine and you need to come out of that, you log out of your account, and it will take you back to the login screen. It will show all the accounts on there, and if, as I say, if there's 4 people using it, it will show all 4 accounts on there, and the individual person, the next person to use it, can log into their individual account. So it's fairly straightforward there. So that really concludes the brief overview of the Apple menu and what it does. In the next video, we'll have a look at Finder. Hope you've enjoyed it and it's been useful, and we'll see you soon.